Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at a set of watercolors that I had a request to review. I had reviewed the Camel tube watercolors a few years ago and I was very impressed with the quality for the price. And probably a year or so ago, somebody asked me if I would review the Camel cake watercolors. And I couldn't find them on Amazon at the time, so I decided to just kind of check every once in a while. I keep a list of things that people ask me to review. But since I was so impressed by the tube watercolors, I thought that if I did find these, then I would order them up. Now, I found this set for $9.99 on Amazon, and they are still this price at the time I'm recording this for the 18 color set. Now, the weird thing is the 24 color set is $24. I think maybe I did see the larger sets when I was first asked, but they were so expensive. I thought that's weird because usually the Camel colors are cheaper. So this box does look a little bit shop worn. It's been taped up. I don't know if that's how it comes from the factory or not, but on the back we have the colors on here and they're all numbered. We have black, burnt sienna, burnt umber, cobalt blue hue, crimson, cerulean blue hue, emerald green, gamboge hue, lemon hue, light red, orange, raw umber, sap green, scarlet, ultramarine, viridian hue, white, and yellow ochre. So it looks like a pretty good set, a pretty well-balanced set. Yeah, and everything's in English on the box. And I believe these are made in India, but I think the sticker might be covering that. But as I recall, all Camel products are made in India, but I may be wrong because I can't see that on the box. But anyway, I wonder if I could. You know what? Maybe if I heat that up, I can get that to peel off and we can see. I hate it when they put stickers on and then you can't see, like you can't read everything that's on the box. Amazon does that. It's irritating. And I like to know this because some people like to support products that come from different countries or avoid products that come from different countries. Does not say. It looks like something scratched. Oh, look at this though. Something has been scratched out of the box. Huh, that's weird. And then it's got a date of August 2023 on it, the manufacturer date. It's like an MSRP maybe has been scratched out. That's interesting. But I don't... Oh wait, there we go. Well, it has the store's address as India. I know it doesn't say made in, but that's probably, I'm trying to hold it up to the light to see if I can see anything through that sticker. There's just like another barcode under there. It seems like that's it though. All right, let's get into there. So the first thing that I'm noticing is that the box looks kind of dirty. It looks like it's got some like fingerprints all over it or some maybe factory grease or something. And it does look a little bit shop worn. So let's open it up. And this swatch card well, whatever this card is, it's kind of dirty. And the enameling in here does look like it's a bit discolored. Then we have a glassine overlay, which tells you what the colors are. And oh, we get a brush. But the cakes don't seem to be used, so I don't know what the story is. But the box looks a bit dirty. I'll probably just wipe that down with a little bit of alcohol. And, well, I guess we might as well swatch them. Well, we can at least test out the brush. I don't know if I want to swatch with such a dinky little brush, but let's wash the sizing out of it and see what it looks like. That's like a synthetic, I would say. It feels like a synthetic. It says Camel number 4, SR68 art brush, 0040. And give that we'll try it on this little weird card that came in here. It reminds me of like the cards when you get a box of tea and you have those cards that divide the different rows of tea, like in Salada or whatever. Let's just take a color here and see. Ooh, that does not. Okay, that is not watercolor paper, and that color does not look great there. And I'm gonna go with my regular brush. Should I spray these? I'm feeling like maybe I should, but let's just see what happens if I go right from the dry cake of color. The package did say new on it, so that's something. All right, let's just Do a typical amount of like scrubbing at a pan. All right, it's not bad. Okay, let's tell you what. Let's swatch it like this, going dry, and then we'll do one where we'll let it sit. We'll spray it a little, let it sit, then we'll do a glaze over, and we'll see how strong that is. Now these are called the Artist Watercolor Cakes, but to me this definitely looks like a children's set. And for $10, I mean, I'm not exactly expecting Daniel Smith or anything, you know, it's a less expensive option. Oh, that's a really nice blue. That's actually, you know what? I bet if we sprayed these, they're going to be, oh, that's weak. Oh yeah, these are definitely need a spray, but you know, that blue is promising. If nothing else, I have a pretty red tin. Oh, the black is pretty vibrant. Well, vibrant, is that the right word? It's strong, I should say. Actually, though, I guess these could have been swatched. I don't think they were. I was just thinking they could have been swatched and sent back, but the yellow's pretty nice. You've got a warm and a cool yellow so far. You could probably actually pop these out. That red's not bad. I wonder if you could. I think they're glued in, but you could pop them out and rearrange them if you wanted to. They probably have little glue dots in them or something. Wipe my finger on a rag there. Okay, let's get the next color, which is this other red. Oh, that's a pretty rose color. I'm not seeing a lot of filler though. I'm not seeing grit on the black lines. That's pretty impressive. I'm assuming these are going to be a pretty matte color. Ooh, that is very weak, but maybe it'll wake up a little bit more. I just took these out of the package. They arrived a couple weeks ago. Like I said, I paid $10 for them. You know, so they're bound to be pretty dry. Oh, that's a really pretty color. That turquoise color. That was called, I don't know if that's what they're calling it. Emerald green, maybe? Is that what they're calling emerald green? I don't know. Maybe they're calling that Viridian and that one emerald. That's an interesting color. That's very yellow. It must be like a raw sienna. Maybe it's the raw umber. In the packaging does not. Oh, right here, Lindsay. That's Viridian hue. That pretty turquoise Viridian hue. Then that's raw umber. That looks like a raw sienna to me. Now, of course, I'm not going to be as critical paying $10 for something as I would if I was paying $100 for something. So, you know, you got to keep that in mind. And if Amazon jacks the prices up to $50 or whatever after this review goes out, I want you to know what I paid for it and what the review is anchored to price-wise, because that is something that really annoys me, is that, you know, when you find a product and it's a great deal. Oh, that's a really strong, beautiful brown. You find a product and it's a great deal, and then you review it, and then Amazon decides to jack the price up once so many sells. I don't like that, because that, you know, especially if it's a budget option, you know, if the price goes up, you might as well just go buy the original, right? Oh, that's a really pretty color. They reactivate okay. No, I'm not noticing. Oh, that's a beautiful satin green. I'm just going to give this a smell. Very faint smell. Just it smells like maybe like it's very faint. Not like the their tube paints did have a smell when you first squeezed them out. This has way less of a smell, and it's almost just like school temper paint smell. Very, very mild. Could have a dextrin binder. Gosh, this is giving me watercolor painting at my grandmother's house vibes in the late 70s. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is grab my sprayer, give this a little spray. Let that soak for about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll come back and we'll do a little painting down here. Why not? It's been about 5 minutes, and there's a little bit of granulation in the ultramarine and in the burnt umber and a little bit in the light red maybe. It looks like there might even be a little bit in the yellow ochre. So now what I want to do is, now that these have soaked for a few minutes, I want to do a glaze on top. So, oh yeah, look at that, so much more vivid. So if you get these paints or paints similar to them and they're not packing a punch right away, look at the difference. Just spray them with water and let them sit for 5 minutes. Holy moly, look at that. That is some color. Wow, what a difference. What a difference. These are non-toxic. I'm just wondering if it's got, yeah, it's got the AP, AMCI, ASTM D4236 AP sealed non-toxic qualification. So that's great. I'm going to say these are better than Crayolas for sure. So if they're non-toxic and they're giving you this kind of a payout of color punch, and what a Crayola is going for, a set of 18 Crayola watercolors are probably this much in a plastic case. So this would definitely, holy cow, so much more vibrant just by soaking. Wow. Now, they might not even need a soak the next time. It could just be they were so dried out from, you know, winter in Maine. Wow. Okay, I'm actually impressed for $10. I don't know. The paints seem to be a little bit larger than a half pan. They're probably as thick as a half pan, and I pushed out that white one to see. So I'd say you're definitely getting a half pan's worth of paint anyway. Maybe a little bit more, but I don't think it would be less. It'll be interesting to see. I love this color right here, this light red. Doesn't it look like a potter's pink when it's diluted out? It'll be interesting to see at that mass tone if we have sludge on our black line, because there really wasn't any except for on the white. It'll be interesting to see if the white's opaque when we have it soaked like that. I figured, well, I always need another watercolor tin, right, for testing out stuff. So even if the paint's junk, then I can just pop out that insert and use magnets and half pans. But I don't think I'll need to do that. I think, I love that sap green. I think this is gonna be all right. Of course, I don't want to get too optimistic. Stay tuned to the end to see what I think. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is much more opaque now. Of course, it's got to dry. But, oh, that's neat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually turn this way so I don't drag my hand in it. And I think we should do some painting. What do you say? All right, let's, I'm going to just use that brush I was using. I will pull in some other brushes as well. But I think first thing I want to do is, and I'm just using this as it is. I probably should actually, let me see if I have my alcohol handy. I can spray that and wipe it out, because I am feeling like it does seem a little bit greasy. So let's just clean that up a little bit. Probably just whatever factory grease is in the factory. It does seem like there's a little discoloration, so I don't know if they put these in old tins or maybe that's just the color that they use. I don't know. Maybe they're seconds. Maybe that's why they're the price that they are. It's hard to say. I don't know. This is the first time I've used these paints. So I think I'm going to take some of this nice cool red here. Add some water to it. And let's do some, just like a branch with some flowers on it. I'm going to do some light, I'm ready for spring, are you? Do some really light flowers here. Just This will be kind of fun and loose. And I'm working pretty quickly because I want to be able to drip other colors in. Look at that, and this is quite watered down, so I'm pretty impressed. Okay, now maybe take a little bit of this, which yellow? Let's do a little of this lemon yellow. You drop in a little bit here and there. Now I think I'll go with the brush that came with it. Give that a whirl. Go back into that really deep, cool red and put some darker areas at the center of the flowers. Hopefully that it'll look a little bit like stamens when they dry. Let's do some brown. Let's do this brown here. These are actually pretty nice. Oh wow. Now, you know, keep in mind I'm just a curious person when it comes to art supplies, so I should probably give this a more substantial branch. The brush is nice. The brush that comes with it is pretty small though, and if you were getting this this set for children, I think I would recommend the Royal Langnickel has a set of brushes. I think they're called Kids Choice, and they're really nice quality. They've got short handles and they've got the acrylic handles, so you don't have to worry about them leaving the brush in water so much. Let me take a little bit of maybe a little bit of that golden yellow. Mix that in with brown. Anyway, they've got that. They've got that acrylic handle, so you don't have to worry so much about them leaving them in the water and adding a little ultramarine blue to give it a little shadow. You don't have to worry about the paintbrushes getting damaged because they've been left in the water by mistake. And water that down, maybe do some far away indications of branches. We're doing a little Zen painting because you don't worry and stress when your paints are not as expensive, I don't think. And then also, let's water down some sap green. That's a really pretty color. Really watered down here. I'm just going to throw in some very distant leaves. Also some distant flowers. Very watered down. Just blobs, really. Okay, maybe I'll do a little bit more of a defined blob there. Defined blob. A little water. I don't know if I like that, but that's fine. We're just playing with the paint and seeing how it goes. Okay, I think I'll take, well, I'm going to clean that brush off. A little sap green on the small brush that came with it. And I'd say this brush is a little bit more like a liner because the length of the bristles, so it would probably be a little bit difficult for little hands. So I definitely would go with those the Kids' Choice brushes from Royal Line Nickel. I'll put some larger little petals in there, here and there. This is one of my brushes from my signature set with craft ammo. I wouldn't recommend that one for little kids because it's pretty expensive and it's got wooden handles, so if they're not good about putting their, getting their brushes out of the water and all that, wouldn't be the best choice. Oh my gosh, that's kind of pretty actually. I want to do some spattering, of course I do. Take some of this Viridian, which is a beautiful turquoise color. It's more turquoisey than what I typically think of for Viridian, and just kind of I'll splash on some of that warm yellow we used too. I'm going to blot out that little area there. It's a little bit too crazy. More water. I like that. Maybe some green too. Some of that sap green. Sap green is so pretty. And their sap green is really clear and pretty in the tube set too, so I'm not surprised. I'm getting a little carried away here, but I'm not unhappy with this. I think this is really pretty actually. All right, I'm going to go back to that little brush again and maybe do some little like stamens. Go with that dark red. We've got some blobs over there because of the spattering, but that's all right. Maybe do a few other little branchy a couple other little branchy things maybe. Well, you know what? I think that that's kind of fun. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go find my original Camel watercolors and swatch them out next to this and see how the tubes compare to the cakes. All right, I've sprayed everything down, let it soak, and I just wanted to say I did some research on the paints. I think this is old packaging because I was looking on Amazon. This is still $9.99 for this 18 color set that I bought, but I also see a 12 color set with newer packaging that is selling for $24. And then I see the 24 set that's selling for $24 with a very similar packaging to this. So I'm wondering if they're just like cycling through the older packaging and getting some newer stuff in there. Because this is kind of what the newer packaging looks like right there. And that's $10 for 12 5 ml tubes. And the 24 5 ml tubes are going for $25. I paid $18 for this set here back in 2021. They have 18 tubes for $19.70. And oh, this is the looks like an updated packaging there. It's $20 for 12 colors. Maybe they're full pan. I don't know. But I just wanted to kind of give you the heads up of what to expect to pay. But I think this is old packaging. That's why I got such a deal. That's why I paid $10 for that. But anyway, I think it's a lot of different sellers also that sell on Amazon. So the prices are going to vary, basically. Okay, so what I want to do here is do a comparison of the tube version to the pan version that I just swatched out. So I'm going to try to, I'm putting both of my swatch sheets ahead of me on the table, so hopefully I can kind of match them up pretty good. So let's see, we've got a yellow ochre here from the tubes. And we've got the yellow ochre from the pans. We've got the lemon yellow from the tubes. Oh, and now when I first reviewed this, they did not have pigment information on the tubes, and now they do. So that could be a situation where maybe the new box of the cakes will have pigment information. Of course, I can't tell you for sure, but you know, that's something that if you want to save a buck, and you know, if you, that's one of the best times to pick up supplies is when they're updating packaging. Okay, there is, let's see, this is the, oh my gosh, where, I keep losing my little paper. Burnt sienna cake. Oh, I don't feel like I got a full load of that. And the burnt sienna. Is that burnt sienna or is that light red? I think that might be the light red. This is probably the burnt sienna. Wow, that's a really, that looks like it's going to be really... Actually, that's kind of, you know what, these remind me a lot of Winsor & Newton. Honestly, like the OG professional Winsor & Newton watercolors. Let's do the light red though, because I think those look very similar. This is the tubes. This is the light red cake. A little different. Let's do ultramarine. I think it's, oh, is there an ultramarine? Yeah, there's an ultramarine in this, the tube set right here. That almost looks like it's a little bit of a different undertone than the cake ultramarine. Yeah, the cake ultramarine, and maybe that's not an ultramarine, maybe that's a most ultramarine one. This looks much more like a French ultramarine. That looks a little bit more, that one looks a little bit more like a sapphire color. Interesting. Let's do the sap green cake. Oh, so pretty. Let's do the sap green tube. I'm not even sure all these are exactly the same colors. Oh man, both are gorgeous, but I'd say the cake is a little bit more yellow and the tube's a little less yellow, I should say. And it reminds me a lot of Winsor & Newton sap green. And that reminds me a lot of Winsor & Newton burnt sienna. It's interesting how similar that those are to their tube paints. And it's funny because the Phoenix paints I found were very similar to the Winsor & Newton half pans, the Phoenix half pans, so kind of interesting. Let's see, what's another color that we have in both ranges? Maybe, do I have this one? Is that, this one might be the same as the crimson. Let's try that. Oh, that's a pretty color. Gosh, I should really use these more. I think they went out of stock for a while, and maybe that's probably why, because I don't still have the tubes. I gave the tubes to a friend. This is the cake. The cakes are every bit as vibrant as the tubes. And they were out of stock, but a friend of mine wanted to try them, so I mailed her what was left in the tubes that I had, and I just kind of like, well, I have this if I need to reference it again. And there was no pigment information at that time, so I wasn't even like really concerned about that. Let's do that warmer red as well. Don't feel like I got a full load of that. And then I think that's this one here in this set. That one's a little bit redder. Like I said, I don't know if it's exactly the same color. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Let's see, we've got an orange in both sets. Let's try those. I don't feel like I got a full load there, but still not bad. I've been paying no attention to what my clean water is and what my dirty water is. I've just been reaching over. Oh, that one does seem much more vibrant, but there's also another orange here that might be a better representation. Actually, no, that's probably more of a yellow. I'm just gonna put that over to the side. Yeah, that's more of a yellow. But there is also a warm yellow in each set, so let's do that. Whoops, I think I might have just dipped in that red next door. I don't want that. Wow, I'm just so impressed. Let's see, is there a, is that Viridian color in both sets? We've got that Viridian here, or it might be a phthalo, I'm not sure exactly. So I'm just going to put it right here, because we'll do the tubes on the right and the pans on the left. I think the cakes is a little bit more blue. Yeah, the cake color is a little bit more blue. Pretty though, so pretty. Let's see, do we have like a cool, what's our cool blue in the cakes is probably this guy right here. Is that it? Do we have a color like that? That one almost looks like it might have some optical brighteners in it. That one, what would that be the most close to? Maybe this one? I don't know. Maybe if I thinned it down a little bit. That does seem to be a little bit stronger. But the undertones are about right, so that I'd say the tubes are a little bit stronger. So maybe the tubes are a little bit stronger in some colors, but they could be different colors too, so it's really hard to say. Do we have a really rich, I love that rich brown, the burnt umber. Let's see, where is that? Do we not have, maybe it's this one? Nope. Huh, let's see, do we not have a really rich brown? Yeah, I guess, you know what, I don't think we have, that's like a sepia. I don't think we have that same color, unless we, maybe it's the burnt sienna? Maybe. Burnt sienna might, or what I would call a burnt sienna. Maybe that's a little bit closer. Anything else I want to compare here? Well, we can compare black to black. I don't know if that set of, the camel set had a white, because I have 22 colors in here, kind of put. I put the 20 that I would most likely use, and I left out some, so I must have just used those in the review. You can find the review on my channel and see that if you want. You know what, this is probably Payne's Gray. I bet I didn't put black, white, yeah, black, white, and then there was that emerald, which I rarely use, and then there's maybe a raw sienna. Maybe there's a raw sienna and yellow ochre. I'm not sure. But I think they definitely held their own against each other. So I was going to do like a scene with one and then a scene with the other, but I thought, actually, I think that's kind of silly because I think these are very similar. So why don't we just use both and do another little scene here? I don't know. Does that make any sense? Gosh, they're pretty though. They're pretty colors. Okay, so let's start by, I'm going to wet the sky area here. Wet the sky area. Just do a very, we're going to do a very quick little landscape. All right, I'm going to start with some blue. Let's do this blue from the cake set. Sorry for the noise. Let's do a little bit of yellow ochre from the tube set. Let's do a little bit of scarlet or crimson from the cake set. Mix in a little bit of that That blue. I have no idea why the water pump is going off. Let's take that color, make some mountains in the distance. Let's take some of that blue and make a little stream. Which blue do we use? We use this blue? No, that's not the color we used. We used this blue. Let's bring some of the colors from the sky in there. Let's do a little of that scarlet color from the clouds. Let's water that down. Let's dry our brush off a little bit. We got a little too much going on there. Let's bring in some of the yellow. That was the yellow ochre we used. Don't want it to be mud, so we don't want to over mix. And let's take some sap green. Spread it around. Whoops. I used my sketchbook floozy templates to cordon off this page, and I had a sketchbook and it was one of those ones with a coil bound, and they get kind of annoying because sometimes they let's try some of this other sap green too. Sometimes they get, I think the tube paint might have a little bit more oxgal or something. It seems to flow a little bit more. But those coil bound sketchbooks sometimes go a little freaky, like they want to catch the papers wrong. So I took it apart so that I could just use the pages, and I thought I'd put it back together, but I totally destroyed the coil. Oh, actually, I like this brown here. I'm gonna add it to the riverbank. This could be better. It could be better, but it could be worse too. Let's put in some little trees. Let's add some of this darker green to our tree. Why not? I'm perfectly happy with this silly little paint set. Oh my gosh, you know what? You could do a heck of a lot worse. You certainly could. I'm gonna put this is this is definitely a project that you could do with your children. But you know what? It's fun to play with different supplies, I think. Yeah, a little bush. This will just be a little bush. Let's give that tree a trunk. Yeah, it's fine. You know what else we could do? We could do some little whimsical roses. It's fine. It's a colorful thing. But the colors work well together. Let's just turn that right around. Let's turn that frown upside down. It's not really a frown. It's not really upside down. All right, let's do a bleedy rose. I like a bleedy rose. That's one of my favorite ways to test paint, honestly, is to do something like that. So I'm going to take some of this Scarlety Tube paint, and you know what, I'm actually going to take a color I usually don't like very much, this Jaune Brilliant color, and I'm going to make this really pale peach. See how really watery? It's like the consistency of tea, I would say. And I'm going to make a kind of very loose kind of like English rose, kind of like a rose on a rose bush. I'm sure you've seen these techniques before. Then I'm going to pick up the red. Actually, maybe we'll... Okay, so we're going to see how the tube paint bleeds. Tube paint bleeds pretty darn well. Let's take a yellow. Let's take this warm yellow. Let's see how that bleeds. That, I'm thinking that the cakes might not bleed quite as well as the tubes. Yeah, it seems to me that the cake color wants to stay put more than the tube does, although that yellow started to blend out. I think it's minimal, but I do think that the tube color blends a little bit less. But you can obviously go in with a wet brush and you can help move it around. So I don't think that's really that big of a deal, but something to keep in mind if you really like that big whoosh in your work. This color here, I'm wondering why I have that off to the side. I really don't know. I'm wondering if that was maybe like a golden color I didn't really care for that much. Let's just we'll make some flowers and we'll go in and add a little bit of... You know, sometimes like you don't want it to bleed too much. You want to kind of control where your color's going. This is something I would rebuy. I'd rebuy them. Want to get the hoard under control at some point. Because they're nice paint. They really are. And I'm really happy because I know that like there aren't as many options in India for quality art supplies, and they don't make as much money as we do in the West. So there aren't as many European companies that are going to go sell over there, or American companies, because they can't sell it for what they can sell it in the States and in Europe for. So, you know, that totally makes sense. But on the other hand, it's like, well, everyone deserves to be able to find art supplies that are affordable and that will work, you know, that they can work with. So, part of me is also a little concerned that this might, not that I have that much influence, but that something like that could cause, like us reviewing this product, cause it to get expensive for people, and I don't want that, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when I review something and then the price jumps like crazy. I'm just going to do a little bit of a blurred background here. So I'm leaving a gap, and I'm hopefully going to put the paint in so it doesn't go all the way to the edge of where I've wet it, so I'll get a nice soft little blur. This would be a pretty little Mother's Day card. You could write Happy Mother's Day up there, or stamp it if you're like me and your penmanship never evolved beyond grade 3. What a strange little review. Okay, I really want to use this color here. This is such a pretty color. This Viridian, which I would call more of a turquoise. But yeah, this color, I don't think that flows as well. The cakes flow as well. Also, I'm just using really, I don't want to say really inexpensive, but pretty inexpensive cellulose paper. It's the Arteza sketchbook, and I took it apart. It's not the same paper that's in the hardcover watercolor book, which I really like, except the sizing doesn't last very well on it. I'm going to take a little bit of this lighter blue too, see if I can get it to soften. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do a little bit of yellow. I don't know what it is about just a simple little English rose that makes me so relaxed. I love painting stuff like that. Yeah, let's do a little bit of yellow. We did this one right here, I think. Just want to kind of fade into nothing around the flower itself. I don't want blooms. So if I work into an area and I disturb the wash, I'll just kind of swirl it up with my brush so it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't get out of hand. But hey, this paint's lovely. The paint is lovely. I think that it would be a wonderful alternative to like a Crayola, because your Crayola watercolors, as I remember them, I don't have any Crayola watercolors around here, but as I recall, the Crayola watercolors did not get bright like that. Check out the granulation in that ultramarine blue there where I used it thick, where it had been sprayed. That's pretty impressive. There could be some filler in there. I mean, these are inexpensive paints, but man, I am very impressed. I'm very impressed with both the tubes and the cakes. There's absolutely no bronzing with the cakes. Looking over here, I think I did maybe see a little bit of bronzing on that orange color. That's like where there's like a lot of gum arabic and it raises to the surface. But they dry down glossier. And there was no cracking on this. I've had this since 2017. And there's been no cracking in the pans. They've held down. And this is one of those double-sided palettes, so one side's always upside down. Even those little daubs that I squirted right onto the palette itself stayed put. So yeah, I'm going to recommend the Camel watercolors as a budget-friendly watercolor option. And yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. If you have any questions, let me know. Here, I'm going to bring out the cake swatch one more time where we had the mass tone. Okay, look at that. There's a little bit of bronzing on some of the mass tone ones. So gosh, they're very similar, and with a really thick application, I am seeing some haze over the black line. I'm not seeing any chalk. Maybe on that orange is a little bit of a chalkiness, and on that yellow, but I'm seeing color. I'm not seeing white. It's not bad. It's really not bad. Maybe a little bit there on that emerald. I think that's what it's called. Emerald green, yeah. And the black is super opaque. I'm really not seeing any reason not to recommend these, especially for $10. I mean, I don't think they're bad at, you know, $24 for a 24 set. $1 a color, I don't think that's bad. But $10, that's way better. Keep in mind that you're probably going to get some shop-worn stuff. If that doesn't bother you, like you're buying it for your own use, it's not a gift or something. Like, because that does seem like the palette to me does seem, I don't know if it shows on camera, but it does seem like it's a little bit yellowed. And I mean, there's a little staining in there from the paint, so I mean, it's not like your watercolor stays pristine. I think I want to pull this out and just look underneath. I just got some crumbs in there from the watercolors, but it's a nice flat bottom. I know a lot of people like these flat bottom tins for when they want to put their other watercolors with magnets on the bottom of the half pans. And the half pans go the whole, like almost to the bottom of the tin. So, I mean, they're a good, I would say they're a good half inch, maybe not half inch, maybe like, let's see, I would say maybe 3/8 inch. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, and the embossing of the name has been kind of worn down with my work today, so definitely weren't used when I got them. I'm pleased. I would definitely go for saving $10 and getting a slightly smudged up tin that's a little bit shop worn. It's not bad. It's a nice little tin. And I hope you enjoyed this. I like that they've got this little thing here that's got the numbers and names. Each of these has a number, so maybe if you live in India, you can buy open stock cakes to put in there. I think that would be wonderful. And I would imagine that being the case, especially for like school children, because I mean, with the amount of population they have, that's got to help bring the prices down too. But yeah, if you see these and you're curious, give them a shot. I think you'll like them. They're hard to beat for the price. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this review. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you tried these? Were you curious about them? Have you never heard of them before? Let me know what you think. If these were around when my kids were little, instead of like Crayola or Prang, I'd probably give them a try. I think these are better than Prang, actually. Prang is what I would go to instead of Crayola, because Prangs were much stronger in pigmentation. But I would go for these now for about the same price, honestly. And more colors and more vibrancy and non-toxic. Really, I can't really say anything against this for the price. My only qualms was the state that the case came in, but I think it's just because it's old stock. There you have it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.